Okay. Hi. I'm Nicole. This is Jessica. We're with Nicole Co Contract Solutions. We are one of your preferred vendors here for transaction coordinating. This is our first class that we are doing and teaching, so please be patient with us. We are very nervous. We don't like talking in front of people at all. So we may go really fast, we may stutter, but just please, patience, and then we were going to be sending a survey out after the class. Please let us know like how we did, was it worth the time? Because if you found value in it, then we'd like to do it again later. And maybe we'll do it out in their office and keep it going. If you're just like, nah, it was okay, that's fine too. Let us know. You're not gonna hurt our feelings at all.
And it will be interactive, so if y'all have questions, please stop us and we can all work through it together.
Yes, yeah, especially if we're going fast, which we probably will. Oh no, I lied.
Great start.
He even asked us. Maybe it froze. There you go. Thank you. Okay, so today's agenda. We're gonna go over a little introduction. We're gonna go over checklists, email templates, folder templates, and bar forms.
To set up pre-fill.
Oh yeah, okay. And then Q&A afterwards, any questions afterwards. This is me. I have 23 years experience in an administrative and operations role. 12 years experience and license in real estate as an administrative role with Keller Williams. So I have not been to any other, I know other brokerage systems, but I've worked in Keller Williams for 12 years, specifically Atlanta Partners. I've also worked on the brokerage side at Atlanta Partners at Sugarloaf. I was income over there for 6 months and said no.
It's brutal.
It's so brutal. So it was right before I started this company, so I was like, I can't. I have helped several large teams grow their business throughout my career. I started this business October 2021. I'm originally from Flowery Branch, but I moved to Sarasota September of 2023. So I have to come up here every 4 months to see my clients and show face and see Jess. And I still have family here and friends here. And then I have a daughter. She's 23. She's down in Sarasota with us as well. And I have 2 fur babies, 2 puppies who are loving the sunshine, even my bulldog, which is hilarious.
Okay, I'm Jessica. You guys see me weekly at team meetings. I'm kind of boots on the ground here for our team. I've been in 7 years. I thought it was 8. 7 years this year. And like Nicole, I started out with a big team, and actually Julie used to be on that team years ago. So fun fact. But yeah, I started out as a TC working with Nicole. I left that team and joined a brokerage, and I was the onboarder, income, pretty much all of that for the admin side of the brokerage. So know all the back end stuff of that as well. But my license is with KW now. So I joined Nicole in 2023.
2 years ago.
2 years today. So yeah. So and then we doubled the business after I joined. So that's exciting. And I grew up in Loganville, and I live in Swanee now, and I have 2 little fur babies too.
And then we have Zara. She's our newest TC. She joined us February of last year. She's got 2 years experience, licensed real estate. She was at the Sugarloaf office for a little bit, which is how she was introduced to us. She got her license, then had to move to travel. And she wanted to do a remote job where she could do something anywhere. Dominique Reeves, who I used to work for, and we're very, very good friends, sent her to me. And I thought, well, if Dominique's sending her to me, then I trust her. Like, Donnie knows my standards. So we brought her on. She's currently expanding her book of clients. So we are actively sending her agents. She's fantastic what she does. She joined February 24th. She's originally from Illinois. She's working remotely to travel. Her boyfriend is minor baseball.
Yeah, in the minor leagues for baseball.
So
So she gets to travel with them.
Yeah.
How fun.
So she's super sweet. We're hoping to get her down here in July when I'm back up. So hope you guys can meet her. All right, checklist. So we're gonna go over seller listing checklists first. And we did a printout for you guys. This is just a basic minimal what you should be doing on your checklist. Every agent's gonna have other things to add to it. Other teams are gonna have other things to add to it. We as TCs have other things that we add to it, what we do. But this is basically just a very basic, here's what you should be doing. So for a new listing checklist, if you do a lot of listings, this will probably be redundant, but obviously get your listing document signed up front. Please, 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 please. Before you input a listing, make sure you have all your documents, especially disclosures. A lot of sellers put that off, but as TCs, we upload those to your listings. So agents aren't calling you constantly asking for disclosures.
And something with that is the legal, and I'm sure you guys know that, is to get the legal description and make sure that the seller is actually the seller and you're not going through all of this, scheduling pictures, getting the listing almost active, and then you're like, well, they're not the seller. I can't list the house. Like, you've wasted all your time. So yeah, make sure. You'd be surprised. You would be very surprised. Yeah, so make sure you get the legal. You can get that from GSCCA or your preferred closing attorney. So O'Kelly could get that for y'all. But yes, please make sure that the seller is, and right now, especially vacant land, a lot of scammers are trying to sell lots that they're not selling around. So yeah.
Trust no one.
Yep.
I'll get your picture scheduled with photographer. Get a key to the house for your lot box.
Make sure your sellers have a key themselves as well.
Yes.
Because we've gotten calls like, I can't get into the house. And it's like,
What's the code to that box?
yeah. How do you mean you can't get into your house? I gave you my only key.
Oh, so please don't do that.
Make sure you have your own key.
And I'd also make sure that if there's any place that, they're like, please don't lock this door, I would make a sign, because agents aren't going to read your notes in your listing at all. So if there's specific instructions, I'm showing like, don't open this door, don't lock this door, cat in basement, please don't open, whatever it is, I would have a sign made.
I know you don't do that.
Yeah, and put it wherever it needs to be, because that way that shows it right in front of your face. Get your signed lockbox out at the house. And then this is when you start inputting your listing. Input listing in FMLS, add your disclosures. Georgia MLS, add your disclosures. There's two different ways to input into these listing services. We input into FMLS first through Matrix. Yeah. Upload everything, and then when we go to Georgia MLS, we ditto the listing over. Some people use Remind to do a listing. I don't personally like it. It's weird because even though it's in FMLS, it doesn't have all the questions that FMLS requires. It's very weird. Yes.
When you ditto to your photos and your docs?
No.
Okay. I was like, y'all magic. Y'all do something. Okay, I'll make sure.
Nope, it does not, but it's still fairly easy to get those over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ditto's just, that's the easiest for me and
Yeah.
for Jess, so.
And to add the disclosures and the pictures, it's a simple click rather than inputting, all of that extra information.
Then you go in to update your showing time, which obviously your showing instructions. Who's gonna approve a showing, go and show all that fun stuff.
And something else with showing time, I don't know if you guys know, but you can add your disclosures and your lockbox information into showing time as well. So
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So it automatically sends when they schedule a showing.
So, and like if they schedule a home inspection, it'll send the CVS code. But that's only if the other agent does it that way. But it's in there for it's something with an appraiser. Sometimes they go through and schedule appraisals through showing time and they get it that way as well. So something else.
Good to know. Sync your lockbox. I know a lot of it will do, like sometimes it doesn't do the app. For us, we have to do it through the desktop version. And it's just basically telling the lockbox what property address is assigned to it. And so if you've got 5 listings and someone's calling you for a CVS code, you go on your Supra and you have no addresses on there, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that helps us too. Like when we're asked for CVS code, we go in, we can just pull the address and send it to them.
And you can add the FMLS number and it automatically fills in the address and then just assign it. Or do it through FMLS too. Again.
You'd like to send an email to the seller saying, hey, your listing's active. Here's a link to your listing. Let us know if you want any changes. Here's how showing is going to happen. Like basically breaking down everything on that listing. And we'll explain that in the email template.
And also with that, to make sure that they know, Zillow, you can't edit it. It's going to pull whatever it wants. And please look at my listing. Don't look at Zillow. Because if you make the edits, it's going to show up on your listing. It's not going to show up on Zillow automatically. Because what is it, 24, 48 hours that it takes to, and y'all know firsthand that it's like, oh, Zillow says this. And it's like, well, I didn't put that on my listing, but yeah, so just make sure that they are aware of that it pulls from your listing and you don't upload it to Zillow. So there's no backend system to edit it, which is crazy.
Used to.
Yeah.
Used to be able to edit your listing in Zillow. Now they won't let you.
Yep.
And then you would upload all of your listing documents to Command, hit submit. So the office knows that you have a listing and that you can get counted for any like monthly awards. That's how they track your monthly award stuff, or your numbers is how you push through Command. And then post any listings or push your listings on any marketing platforms that you may use, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. I don't do social media, but
all the groups,
all the stuff. I think there's even a Keller Williams like internal message. So yeah, pretty simple, and then you're up and going.
What's the idea in SPD? You probably said it, but what's
seller's property disclosure.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we abbreviated a lot. Oh, your listing has got under contract. Yay! Woohoo! So for this, you would first go in and update your listing in Georgia MLS and FMLS. FMLS does have a rule. You're supposed to update your listing status within 48 hours of going under contract. A lot of agents don't, but
How often do you guys see that it's actually updated?
But if an agents will call you out if you don't do it, and then they'll and they can send the 117 form to FMLS themselves.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah.
Oh, but only if it's your transaction.
Yeah, you have to have a copy of the
Yeah,
binding
you have to have a
agreement.
copy of the agreement. So, but the buyer's agent can tell FMLS to change it. And you just don't want FMLS flagging. Might as well just stay out of it. Then you would send, so we send a congrats email to the seller saying, congratulations, your house is under contract. Here's a copy of it. Here are deadlines. Here's where it's closing.
So kind of with that, what we like add on there is the closing attorney will be reaching out to you with your seller's info sheet. So, here's kind of the information that you need to have to give to the closing attorney. And it kind of gives them a heads up, like this random person is reaching out to me. Like I'm not giving them my mortgage information. So it's kind of a heads up to them, like what to expect. And same thing for the inspection to kind of get them prepared of what to expect during the inspection. The buyer might come toward the end of the inspection. It might come the whole inspection. It's kind of just prefacing what to expect with them, setting those boundaries. And so with that one, that just goes directly to the seller. And then we also send an email to the co-op, the attorney, and the lender. The attorney, hey, we're under contract. And I always send it in one email. So the co-op, the attorney, and the lender are all on that same email. We're under contract. Here are our dates. Here's what I need from you. Let me know if you need anything from me type email.
Yeah, and it's introducing us to them, so they know that we're being involved in that transaction as well. Because a lot of times they just, even when you introduce yourself, they don't want to copy you on anything, but they know upfront, we're involved, we need to be copied on everything.
And don't rely on the other agent to send it, because you can never trust that it's been sent. You want to make sure that you send it and they've already started on their end of things. So
yes, even if you're representing the seller, send it to the lender.
Yep. So they can get everything going.
We've seen it all.
And I like to send the co-op agent the CVS code within that email, so they're not asking for it again, which they probably still will ask for it again because they don't read the email, but include that CVS code so they have that for the inspection whenever they schedule it. And, just add a little blurb, please let me know whenever the inspection is scheduled for, here's a CVS code. And then submit the contract to command and submit the commissions tab. That's important also for your tracking. And then add deadlines to the calendar. So add it to your calendar. And I know a lot of agents add it to their client's calendar as well. So, hey, in my initial email, due diligence ends on the 18th. So then they have it on their calendar as well. So they know 2 times now that you've told them, hey, due diligence ends this day. So kind of keep everybody on the same page.
And just on the command side, most of you probably do know, but Keller Williams wants contracts submitted, whether you have everything or not. They want the contract in command and submitted. They say within 24 hours. Obviously, like for us, we don't work on the weekends. No one's here is working on the weekend. So within 24 business hours, they want that contract, whether you have everything or not, which you won't because it's too early. So they're always going to kick it back. But if a problem does arise or they need to look for an earnest money check, they know what's going on immediately. So if you get that kickback, like it's not in compliance, it's okay. It will be for every contract that you do, just because there's so many other documents that you're waiting for that's just, it's gonna happen.
And then the information sheet from the attorney. So send another email to the attorney. Here's my seller's email, phone number. Because I know some attorneys send it through a portal and they need a phone number in order to send that over. So send that over to the attorney so they can send the information sheet so they can get the ball rolling on their end. And then request earnest money, obviously. But I always request it the morning of the due date, just to see if they've already done it. If not, please send it by the end of the day.
Want to talk? Request loan updates from lender, whether the buy side or the seller side. It's mainly, if on the sell side, it's more of just letting them know, hey, we're watching this and we're contacting you. So hopefully you're doing what you're doing. And if they're not responding to you, then that might throw a red flag going, okay, what's going on with this loan? Why aren't they responding with something? So that might trigger you to be like, oh, I should probably reach out to the buyer's agent, be like, hey, I haven't heard from the lender, what's going on? And a lot of times when I send my first one out, that's how I find out that the buyer switched lenders and no one's told us. So we do an email at 1 week and an email at 3 weeks out, and then a week before closing. So we stay on top of them to make sure that they know that we're watching.
Especially whenever it comes close to your appraisal and your finance contingencies. It's like, do you have what you need from the buyer to make this go through?
Yeah. Submit your DA request in command. This is something we usually do about 7 days out. I don't think they really like it any sooner than that. And of course, by then your file should be compliant with the department. If not, you have to get that compliant before you can do the DA request. They won't even look at it. Schedule closing with all parties. Make sure obviously that your client knows. Request utility information from the seller or the co-op, or no, this listing side. Request from the seller so you can send it to the co-op so the buyer can have a list of utilities so they can get that transferred over.
And with that, something that you guys might want to do if you don't already have one is to create a seller info sheet with the utilities and get that whenever you do your original paperwork, send that over and get it at the beginning. Because, whenever they're moving, they're trying to get all their stuff. They're like, oh gosh, another email. So that can be kind of something before you get to the nitty gritty of it, to when it's like, hey,
Yes.
give me the utility information.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So for the utility info from seller to send to co-op,
Mhm.
in what period of due diligence would you send that to the co-op? Like, is it after the inspection or?
I do it 2 weeks before
Yeah.
closing.
Okay, thanks.
So that way it's not so early that they forget or they lose the information, but it's not so close where they're scrambling trying to get the services done.
And it's the quicker you have it from the seller, that's one less thing that you have to worry about getting from them.
Right. If you get the utility list up front, from the seller, then send it to the co-op, the buyer's agent 2 weeks.
And also in that same email, tell the seller, we need to know whenever you're scheduling those disconnections, because it needs to be at least through closing. And you also need to relay that information to the co-op on when they're scheduled for disconnection. Because we've had it to where the buyer goes to the house and there's no power, there's no water. And some counties, they require you to take your settlement statement to the water company in order to set it up. So you obviously don't want there to be no water. So sometimes people leave it on until the next business day. So just depending on what day and time you're closing.
And occupancy. Yep, that too. Okay, make sure the lender and attorney have all the amendments for the contract. Just in case the other agent didn't send it over. Especially for price changes or closing costs, or warranties, things like that, that may be added after the fact that need to be on the settlement statement. Confirm with the lender that they have it clear to close. We do that 3 days before closing.
That's just on the city.
Sometimes usually it's not till the day before, but again, it's just another touch to say, hey, we're watching you. We're ready to close. Request preliminary settlement statement from attorney. We do this day before closing because lenders don't usually get all the stuff to the attorney in a timely manner. So once we get that, we send it to the seller to review, say, attorney's gonna go over this in full detail at closing, but please let us know if you have like any immediate questions, because our job and your job is to prevent any hiccups at closing. You want to go as smoothly as possible for them. So if there's any mistakes you can catch beforehand, the better. You're not freaking your client out. And then email closing details to seller. Date, time, location, what to bring, ID, bank account information if you want to wire for proceeds, keys, garage door openers, all that fun stuff.
And another touch to add to that is a reminder like, hey, remember we talked about utilities, make sure that you have those scheduled for disconnection whenever, if there's a temporary occupancy, then your last day of occupancy, that sort of thing. Any questions?
Okay. Now we have the buyer side, which is very similar to the listing side. I don't think there's really any beyond making sure that you get the earnest money. Okay, the buyer gets the earnest money to wherever it needs to go.
Yep, and something else with the buyer is you need to make sure they schedule the inspection and then insurance as well. Insurance is a big thing. And I know KW has the, what do they call it, the golden email for Georgia Home and Auto. So send that over, I think 3 days is what I do for one of my teams. So they can go ahead and get that going in the process. So whenever they have to diligence, they're like, oh gosh, like I can't afford that payment, whatever. So that's something else with the buyer that's different.
Yes. And it gives them time to shop around.
Yep.
Because it will affect their loan.
Mm-hmm. And something that I have found for my agents that's helpful is to have a list of inspectors that you like to use and to send those over, hey, we're under contract. Now you need to schedule your home inspection. Here's 3 that I recommend if you don't want to use your own. You always like to give options.
Yes. Yeah, I have one of my agents has that. She has me send it every time I send her congrats email for her buyers. And it's very helpful. I would highly suggest that you do not schedule the inspection for your buyers. Because if something goes wrong, whose fault is it? It's yours. That's their responsibility. They have to pay for it. they have to, that's on them. They need to do that. I have a lot of agents that were like, will you schedule an inspection with the, I'm like, no, no, I will not. A, I don't have a credit card and I don't want it. And B, I'm not gonna be responsible if your inspection company that you recommend, the one that you recommend messes up. I'm not doing it. So,
And with earnest money, if the attorney is holding the earnest money, do not ever send their wiring instructions. Have them send it directly to the buyer. Because again, if something goes wrong, whenever, if the wire gets intercepted, who's responsible for that earnest money? And who knows how much the earnest money can be,
right.
so they'll point that finger at you.
Never,
I
ever,
use
ever,
those
ever.
wiring instructions that you can. Just email the pre-closer and say, hey, earnest money is due for this one. Please send over wiring instructions or send the link that you guys use for earnest money.
Yeah. And we always tell the buyers too, before they send money through wires, to call the attorney and confirm those instructions that they have. Every time, or the earnest money and with what they need to fund. I think the only other additional is requesting a commission agreement from the co-op agent. The listing agent should be doing the commission agreement. It's not the buyer's agent's job to do that. And now that we need it again, you don't know what the seller's full commission is. So you know what you're getting, but they need to fill that out. They need to send it to you so you can sign it.
It's getting so confusing right now with the instructions closing attorney and the 259. Do you just do both of them?
You can.
Okay.
The 259 guarantees that you're getting a commission on that contract, right? The instructions to closing attorney is telling the attorney.
Right. I'm just getting asked here nowadays I've already done the 259 and I get asked for the other one.
Yeah, a lot of agents are still confused, even when there's a 259s that was called. And I ask them for the commission agreement. They'll go, well, we already have it as 259. No, that's not right anymore. Like that only tells me what my agent's getting paid.
Yep.
How are you going to tell the attorney what you're getting paid?
Because I think the instructions to closing attorney is F255.
Yeah, so you'll get a lot of pushback on it. If you do, we've done this recently. Contact the closing attorney. Please reach out and request the commission agreement because
Thanks.
Yeah,
I don't
need that.
I'm not going to argue with them.
And honestly, compliance will come back on you and say we need the instructions to closing attorney as well.
They're just confusing me. Doing like half the term.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do both.
You have to have the instructions to close attorney, period, the end. The attorney has to have it. Now, whether there's the broker comp exhibit part of your contract or not, that's up to the buyer's agent. I would do it because that's guaranteeing you, hey, the list seller is paying me this much money.
Thanks.
If it's not on there and you've discussed it verbally, you might get a commission agreement that doesn't say what you talked about.
That's a good question though, because it is very confusing right now because people are not informed of.
Any questions on the buyer side? Okay. Checklists general. All right, so these are very small checklists, but we as admin would like to have everything in writing. So when we had paper, when we used paper, we would have a contract info list that would be like right on the front of the folder, and it would break out everything important that we would need. So if I had to pull the file, I could see everything that I wanted right there: the address, MLS number, client contact, co-op agent contact, lender contact, attorney contact, all that stuff. And that way I just had it easily accessible so I could see it. Now our system that we use now has all that same information right where we can see it. So we're not struggling. Now we're not searching through the contract trying to find this information every time we need to do something with it. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. Whether you have an electronic system, you have a notebook or bite something. We did a lot trying to get that figured out, but it's very, very, very helpful.
Especially whenever you're like, oh my gosh, earnest money is due today. Who's holding the earnest money? Who do I need to reach out to? If you have it at a quick glance, it's super helpful for you to where you're not having to go back and search for it again.
Did you print this page?
Is it not on there? Nope, we can't. We'll have to create it. Did you guys all RSVP for the class?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll have your email, so I'll email it out. Close checklist. So this is after closing. Turn in your signed Alta and any KW checks to Keller Williams within 24-hour business days. I know they want their checks. And obviously, if you didn't get a DA, then you're gonna want your check too. Close out if it's a seller, if it's your seller, close out the listing, FMLS and Georgia MLS. I don't know if
Do y'all
you've
know how
heard.
to do that? FMLS, it's the 118 form. You can select the fast forms. You type in the FMLS number, and then it asks you for binding agreement date, closing date, sales price,
Co-op agent.
and then you submit the settlement statement on there. Because you can't just go in like Georgia MLS and close it out. They have to look at the forms and confirm that. It'll take 24 or 48 hours.
I
Depends
think
on.
the market center does it. I don't know that
Oh,
we
you
have
guys don't
the
have
money
to?
Yeah, I was about to say, I
Okay.
think,
in
yeah, I think,
FMLS.
I know
understood.
Sugarloaf
And
does.
MLS.
Yeah.
Send a closed email, question mark.
So that will have the, congratulations on closing. Here is a PDF copy of your settlement statement. A lot of buyers, sellers lose that and they need a copy of it, so you have it. So yeah, and that's also, oh no, that's this one. And then a review for your client. Super helpful. You could also do it in that same email, unless you wanted a different touch. Hey, congratulations on closing. We're funded. Hope you love your new house. And then please tell me how I did. That sort of thing.
And then create a homestead exemption letter. So I learned this very early on. A lot of agents like to send out a reminder about the homestead exemption the next year after they close. What we've done, I'm sure a lot of people do it by email now, but what we used to do is we had a letter already printed or typed up. We print it the day of closing. We printed it, addressed the envelope, stamped it, stuffed it, and put it away. And so by January of next year, we would just pull all those out, throw them in the mail, done. Rather than at the end of the year going, oh my gosh, I wanted to do this. Now I have to write all this out. I had 30 closings this year. Now I have to do all this. So if you just did it, if you take the 5 seconds to do it right at closing, then you're done.
And I believe that O'Kelly put a homestead letter for you guys in the Facebook group, I think.
Yeah, it's in there and it's also in the docs, and then we have 2 more weeks, y'all, so get it.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Actually, I think the one we used to use was O'Kelly's too.
Yeah.
We can't do it for them, but we send them the letter
Yeah.
and the.
It's April 1st, right?
Okay.
And like the one that we have, it's got all the counties, so it's just,
Mhm.
y'all want that too? It's got all the counties, you just click on the link and it takes you.
Yep. So that makes it easier for you come the beginning of next year, whenever you're like, oh my gosh, and it doesn't take up any more time whenever you're preparing for your new year.
And then add home anniversaries or home anniversary
Yep.
and birth dates to your calendar for your clients. That way you can notice in the birthday cards, happy home anniversary, get that extra touch.
I know that some agents have like a client information sheet of like your favorite restaurants. And I mean, you guys grow the relationship as you're showing houses, favorite restaurants, favorite stores, favorite sports teams. So whenever you do send a birthday card, you can put in there a Target gift card or, if that's something that you want to do. So just the extra touch for your people.
And then we have a termination checklist. So if your contract unfortunately terminates, there's a couple things that you have to do on your end to just close that file out. Obviously, make sure the TNR is fully signed by all parties, just the bottom half regarding earnest money. Submit the termination to command, request termination in the commissions tab. So you have to terminate it basically twice in command. You have to submit the termination in the file and then go to the commissions tab and hit request termination. So accounting knows that that's not being closed anymore, and they're not contacting you going, when's this closing? Where are my paperwork? Make sure the attorney and lenders have a copy of that as well. Remove any deadlines from the calendar. And then update the file and the folder in command. If the listing you've updated back to active. If it's a buyer, you just archive it because you're gonna start all over again.
Yep.
And then make the listing back active in FMLS and Georgia MLS. Get it ready for showing again.
What does DA stand for?
DA,
Dispute
disbursement agreement, or disbursement authorization. It's giving the attorney permission to pay you your commission at closing rather than Keller Williams paying you after you, which is what,
We're special, y'all.
which is what your goal is. All right, so I'll let Jess talk on this. So we have email templates that we send out for everything. We have created, so we're not retyping it every time we have to send this out. This will be very helpful for you as you get busy, to have this set up. So Jess is gonna go over kind of basic verbiage.
So the listing active, obviously, congratulations on your listing. Here's the link to click on it. And then also what I like to add in there is about showing time. If you've got your clients up in showing time, to have them approve showings, let them know, hey, whenever we have a scheduled showing, you'll hear from showing time, whether email, text, however you have it set up. To let them know what showing time is, because whenever they don't know what they're doing, what is showing time? Why are these people calling me? So it has that in there, and also attach a copy of your listing agreement, so they have that for their records as well. And sometimes I like to add in there about Zillow, Realtor.com, all of that. That can't edit. Kind of just preface with what that is, where all of your where the listing is being marketed. So, we have it in 2 MLS systems, and it'll show up on Realtor.com, all that stuff. Is there anything else that? Oh, also on their feedback, you can add a little blurb about, hey, I request feedback after every showing. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Just kind of set the precedence of what's going to happen after each showing. And then our under contract email. Hey, we're under contract. Here's your binding agreement date, due diligence, earnest money, all the different contingencies in there. Attach a copy of it. Who's the closing attorney? I'm trying to work my way through.
Schedule inspection if he's the buyer. And then earnest money.
And then same thing with the earnest money. Your earnest money is due on X day. Here's the holder. Here's how to submit your earnest money.
I explained due diligence.
Yes, that's a big one. That's a big one as well. And it's not up here, but some of my agents have a due diligence follow-up email as well. Like, hey, we're through due diligence. Our next deadline that we're working toward is appraisal and finance contingency, and kind of what to expect. So really break it down for your clients. Like, some people want to see it all at once, and some people want small doses. Here's where we are on the track to closing. We made it through diligence, appraisal, contingency.
Finance.
Yep. Also on the back to the under contract, let them know about the info sheets that will be coming from the attorney. And I have a info sheet or an email template that includes our seller and buyer information to send to the attorney, and copy them on that, so they see the direct, like, hey, here's who will be reaching out to you. That's kind of like an introduction to the attorney. Lender requests. So like we said, we do it 1 week after binding and then 3 weeks after binding. It's also with that, to me, if I'm representing the seller, I'm not going to reach out to the lender about the appraisal contingency.
Oh, no. Or the finance contingency. We do it after. If my agent wants to know, hey, did we meet this? I don't ask the lender until after it's been passed, because I'm not going to remind the lender and the buyer, hey, you have a because I'm representing the seller. You pass it, and that's on you. That's on you and your agent. As the buyer side, yes, we're gonna follow up with the lender 2 days before those contingencies hit and go, hey, coming up, how are we? Do we need to extend? Blah, blah, blah. So, but our lender update requests have specific questions and they go out, whether it's the buy side or seller side, it's very specific questions of we're a week in, where are we at? We're 3 weeks in, where are we at? We're a week from closing. Does everybody have what they need to close on time? I'm like, let's schedule this, get it done.
Yep. And then utility info is kind of straightforward. What are the companies? When is the disconnect date? And then just flip that for whatever side you're working with. Closing details, kind of. We talked about that earlier. And then client review. It's self-explanatory. Like, I would appreciate a review. Please let me know how I did. Don't leave it 5 stars. Sometimes you can tell, like,
Please leave a 5-star review.
Yeah. Sometimes if it was kind of a rocky one, you're like, I don't know.
I would not send a review if it did not go well.
So what did you say about closing detail?
So that'll be where the closing is, the time, the location, what to bring.
That's pretty much it.
2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One, are you guys hiring for data entry? How does hiring you process look like? Is it like prior to like everything or after? Like how does that?
So if you would want to use our services, yeah, it'd be prior to everything, because we want you to like read our agreement and sign it, so you know what to expect from us and what we need to expect from you. We want to get all your logins, so we can make sure we can access your command, your FMLS, your JordanLess, any of your signature systems. So we're ready. So then when you have a contract, you send it to us and we can start working on it. So we make sure we get you set up on our end before you start. And if you're like, oh, I have a contract here, I'm like, cool, I don't have any logins.
And is it per like service you can sign?
It's per contract. So if you would sign our agreement. It is not a contract. It doesn't lock you into us. We only work on what you send us. So you only pay on what you send us. So if you're like, here's a contract, that's the only thing you pay for. Or here's a listing input, can you input this for us? That's what you pay for. You don't have to use us for everything. So yeah. Let me say something. Oh, I remember now. Do you most of you use Gmail for your email? So if you didn't know, you can create a template in your Gmail. You can create templates in your Gmail. So when you're going to compose an email, you can click on the little 3 dots down here and it'll take you to templates. And all you gotta do is hit whatever template you want to use, and it'll automatically pull it over.
So once you have all of your templates created, then you go into Gmail and save it as a template, and then just pop in your dates, closing attorney, that in your template, and it makes it so much easier to send that over.
Yeah, it's very, very fast.
You'll hire out to set up templates.
I can help you with it.
Maybe that should be another class.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that class, because we could do a class. Yeah, we could do a class on templates, and we could do a class on the GAR form, like
Yeah.
filling out all that stuff,
Yeah.
because we won't have time to do all that.
Yeah.
We're really fast.
Oh, wow.
Good job.
I figured we'd be talking so fast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. All right, GAR form templates. So who uses, Dotloop's the easiest for me. Who uses Dotloop? For you do. Perfect. Don't be ashamed. It's the old school Keller Williams. That was what they used. Yeah. They used Dotloop before they got command. So we knew Dotloop very well.
I'm not supposed to use that loop, but sometimes there's things I don't follow really. Because
The majority, 99% of my agents use Dotloop.
I know, and then I just throw everything in.
Yeah, I have like 3 agents that use DocuSign. I won't put my hair out.
We won't tell him, Julie.
Well, I know how to do in dot loop, and there's a way to do it in DocuSign. DocuSign is a lot more cumbersome to do it, but you can actually go in and set up your GAR forms in there and have things pre-filled that you don't have to be filled out every time you do a contract, like your broker information, your license
That's
number,
awesome.
all that stuff. You know, anything that's not going to change no matter what you do, you can pre-fill that stuff, have it saved as a template in dot loop or DocuSign. And that way you don't have to fill that thing out every time. You don't have to add your broker name, your broker code, your license number, your address, all that stuff. You can do that on everything, on all your documents. It makes it a whole lot easier, more efficient for you. I can learn, I've done it in DocuSign once, and now I can't remember how to do it, but I can figure it out. It's just, it's very like, you have to click like 10 times just to get to your document. When a dot loop is like click, 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 done. But if that's something you guys are interested in, let us know and we'll be happy to figure that out. Oh, and folders. Yeah, it's a dot loop thing. We'll learn DocuSign better. I like dot loop better.
And also with that, like your folders within DocuSign, add the disclosures in there where you're not searching for, you know, you need the ABAD to be an exhibit.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah, so again, in dot loop, there's a template folder and you can create like buyers, sellers. And that's where you pull your GAR from. There's a GAR form.
I believe DocuSign does have that, and it automatically has the ABAD and, yeah,
all that in there. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you can add, just so you don't forget, all right, for all my buyers, I have to have ABAD and the wire fraud. For all my sellers, I have to have ABAD, the wire fraud, the wire sewer, all that stuff. So you don't forget to get those disclosures signed, especially the ABAD with your buyers, because you know you're not getting paid
and
if you don't have
an
it signed
exhibit.
before you go in the contract. And your VBA. So again, we'll learn DocuSign if that would help. And we can do a class on setting up email templates, setting up these folders to make it more efficient for you guys.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
We'll work on that.
yeah, that would be our next one.
Or you can hire us. Because we do all that and more. All right, any additional questions that you have with this or for us or in general?
What are some tools that you keep for yourselves organizing like the dates and, you know, because I know you have to use some sort of project management software or something, right? To remind you to like, oh, I have to email these 10 listings today regarding X, you know.
So our system that we use is A-frame, but it's very transactional based, so I don't think that it would be helpful for that. But before we had that, we used Monday.com. And I think that also Google, do you Google My Business at all?
I haven't used it for that. I mean, I have it, but.
Because you can set like reminders if you have one specific date on your calendar, you can set reminders for weekly, you can do monthly. If that's something that you do, you know, monthly and weekly, you can always set that as a reminder, so it pops up. You can think.
Does Command have something like that? I feel like Command has a checklist. Were you telling me that, or was it? Yeah, we don't use Command checklists, but just because we have agents and other brokerages. But I mean, A-frame would be very helpful for you, but A-frame is not the cheapest thing out there.
Because it has a whole side that we don't even use.
Yeah, it's a very small CRM, but it's also like it has all of our checklists, all of the deadline. It is our full. It is our full system. So prior to that, I would say just the Google Calendar. Yeah, like because before we had that, when I added due diligence to it, I put a reminder 2 days before, so I'd get an email 2 days before to remind my agent, you know, hey, this is coming up or whatever.
Yeah.
And when we were on paper, I just had a paper system, which is so crazy now because I don't know what I would do without A-frame. It's amazing.
I use Notion.
Notion?
No, it's amazing.
Oh,
She
really?
blows me away with her. Y'all should see it.
Oh, there you go.
It's
Notion.
free. I like it.
could try that. Maybe she was looking for a
Yeah.
system to
Maybe
remind
you
her.
should see that thing that
Okay,
she got,
yeah, I'll
with
look
me
at
away.
it. Okay.
What's it called again?
Notion?
Notion.
She has her whole
N-O-T-I-O-N?
5 minutes.
That's my second brain.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm working on a workshop for everybody on this.
Nice.
Good.
Is it just like dates?
It's everything.
Everything?
It's your whole life.
It's like creating a website for your life, multiple websites for your
Okay. A different tab.
life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that sync with like Google Calendar and stuff?
Mhm.
Nice.
And Monday, everything. It's like a lot.
Nice. There any other like admin type questions that maybe? we
If
could
an
help?
admin position does open up.
Would love to do that for you. Along with all the other things that we do. We do, I guess we could talk about our pricing options. So we do offer, if you haven't heard our spiel yet, we offer 2 different services. We do listing input and we do contract to close. For listing input, the fee is $150. Invoiced the day the listing goes active, due 5 days from invoice. It's completely separate from contract to close. Just because it's listed doesn't mean it's closing, you know? So that's something that we've worked on and we're gonna collect the fee for that. But so we'll input the listing for you, pictures, disclosures, sync, lockbox, update showing time, schedule open houses if you have an open house, send that intro email to your seller saying, hey, your listing is active. Here's a copy of the link, let us know if anyone changes, here's how showing's gonna work, blah, blah, blah. And we always we copy you on everything. And we always, it actually first starts out, thanks for trusting so-and-so to handle your listing. Here's all the information. We submit to command for you, make sure all you have all your listing documents are compliance approved. Get that up there. And then we'll maintain the listing until it either expires, withdraws, or goes into contract. So if you reach out and say, hey, we need a price reduction on 123 Main Street, can you do that? Yep, no extra charge. We've already paid for it. Or hey, we're doing another open house. Can you schedule that for us? Yep, no problem. Or hey, the seller 6 months in decides he doesn't like that picture. Can you take that out? Sure, no problem. So it includes listing maintenance until it is no longer active.
Till it closes.
Till it closes, yes. And then for contract to close, we offer 2 different packages. I should have done this. So we offer 2 different packages for contract to close. The first one is $400 per closing, paid, invoice at closing, due within 5 days. You do not pay if it doesn't close, even if it terminates the day of closing. There's no fee charged. The second package is $33.75. If it terminates after due diligence is over, there's a $50 cancellation fee.
Got it.
And you can, when you read our agreement, you sign it, you pick which package you want to go with. And that's not, you don't get to change it like per contract. It's across the board for however long you use us or until we change our agreement. That's something. So we needed to raise our rates a little bit this year. We wanted to give our agents an option of, how well do you trust your client and your ability to, make things happen. So I have half agents on one pricing package and I have my other half on the other pricing package. It's just whatever we're more comfortable with.
These are really good prices. This 400, that's for one like photo shoot.
Yeah.
Photographer, something like that.
Yeah, a TC is not expensive at all. Especially for everything that we do.
And you can get it for free. You know how?
Oh, good.
Good job.
Yes.
You can charge an admin fee to your client.
Yeah.
So on the listing
Yeah.
agreement or the BBA and special steps. Now, it has to say that the fee is being paid to Keller Williams because we add it to your commissions tab, but we don't put it as part of your commission. So it won't be split with the market center because there's an option when you add it as a bonus to split with the market center or not. So it gets added to your commissions, it gets added to the instructions closing attorney.
Yes, right? For taxes?
Yeah,
Okay,
because we'll
okay.
invoice you separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
okay.
still showing that you're paying us
Got it.
and that you're sending us a 1099 for what you're paying us.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
So yeah, we have several agents that do that. So if you guys need verbiage for that, let one of us know and we'll reach out to one of our agents and be like, hey, what do you say? You know, I mean, I have agents that charge $1,000 admin fee. My fee's not that expensive. So, yeah. Any other questions? Was this helpful?
Very.
Okay, good. All right. I'm gonna create some type of survey and send out if you guys, like, again, good, bad, and different. You're not gonna hurt our feelings. I have a very thick skin. I'm very honest and brutal myself. So is Jess. So let us know if it's helpful, what could be better, what could be different, and it's great. We will do more classes.
Yeah, and what other class you guys would think would be helpful for us to offer? Yeah, just like admin, obviously the templates or something would be helpful. Yeah. So what else do you think was is it?
Thank you.
We took
11:59.
Like,
So the survey is not that. Survey, right?